This is a quick video talking about the importance of fighting for every point in school, not only college, but also high school. I've lost so many points on assignments and then emailed the professor asking, why exactly did I lose those points? Or could you take a look at that? I think that I actually should have them. And I've gotten almost all of the points given back to me. And in some classes, it's actually made the difference between having an A minus or a B. Like, I would have been in a B plus A minus range, and I was able to get all the way up to an A just by emailing my professor and asking them to look over my assignments because the TAs made mistakes. And some of the examples I have was in my design mechanical assemblies class. I told my professor on my midterm I lost points on problem number 2. TA notes J depends on NP, even though I have J on the left side of the equation for the answer on page number 4. I'm actually not going to finish reading all of these because it's engineering stuff, so not many people are going to understand it, but I'll put them up beside here on the video, just screenshots showing it. But as a TA myself, you have so many of the same assignments to look through, and you're going to get swamped and hit depending on the size of the class. Like if you're one of 4 TAs for a 120 kid class, you have 30 assignments you need to grade every single week in addition to your regular school load. And let me just say, for most kids that I know, TAing is not their priority. They just see it as an easy thing they can do on the side. So a lot of TAs will skim through stuff and just not really pay attention to it. So you need to fight for your points, because freshman year we had this one class called statics, and the TA almost every single week he would give me like a 50 or a 40, and I'd email the professor. I'm like, hey, where did I mess up on this? I want to understand for the quizzes or the final. And like phrase it very that way, and don't phrase it like you're accusing the TA of being lazy. Be like, oh, I just want to understand where I messed up. So then the professor's going to look at it and he's like, oh, well, you didn't mess up. Here's what you should do. Like, I'm going to give you the points back. And that is, just don't be too confrontational about it, but you still need to fight and push for the points you believe you should get. The other thing that I will give you, which is a huge bonus, which I've used, if you don't know what you're doing really, and like you don't have the project completely finished or anything, if you make it neat, if you make it formatted, if you can make it really, really long. I might put up a quick video on the side here, scrolling through some of my lab notes or equations that I've done for my classes. And if you make them long enough, the TA doesn't even want to look at that stuff. Like if your appendix is 30 pages long, but you just put images in it and other stuff, he's going to be looking at that and like, well, the answer doesn't exactly match, but he obviously knows what he's doing, so I'm just going to give him like a 90. Because I've had many, many situations where I've pulled this off, and the professor, like the TA, will go through it, and I know that I should get, based on the rubric which the professor gave us ahead of time, I know I'm looking at like a 75 or an 80 on this one project because I just didn't have the time to fully go into it. But I made my appendix really nice, and it had a lot of notes in it and everything. And the project was really long, and the TA still gives me like a 90 on it. And I'm like, wow. So that's, to sum up the whole ramble here, the neater you make it and the longer you make it, the more the TA will unconsciously assume that you must know what you are talking about, because only people that like really understand the topic and have the assignment done actually spend the extra half hour to go through and format everything correctly. If you hand him a nice messy thing, I'm going to look at it, and if I can't find the answer, I'm just going to, like subconsciously, I'm assuming, well, it's messy, he doesn't know what he's doing, it's all unorganized. Like, you're going to be at the lower end of the range of points I can give you. And the TA has a lot of leniency in where they think the point should go. So you can definitely play to that, especially in coding classes sometimes, where if you comment your code out nicely and you make it all good, you can get a lot more points back than if you just had the same exact mistake in uncommented messy code. Doesn't work for all TAs, but give it a shot. It worked amazing for me in college.